Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video we are doing a makeup look that was actually very highly requested, which makes me really excited to do it today. So this past weekend it was my sorority formal, it was my last one. It was very emotional. I ended the night bawling. I'll probably insert a picture right here because it was hilarious. And also I'll insert some pictures of me before the crying when I actually looked cute and ready. But I had a bunch of my friends ask me to do a makeup tutorial on that look because it's so fun and I think it's really unique. And I also loved pairing it with the yellow. This is like the top that I wore to formal, so I put it back on so you guys could see. But yeah, I had a lot of compliments on it, honestly. And I really like the way it makes my eye color pop. I just really liked it. I was feeling it, so I decided to recreate it again for you guys today so you can see how I did it and all of that. So if you guys would like to see how I got this completed makeup look, then just keep on watching. To start off today's makeup look, I'm going to take my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Light, and I'm just going to carve out my eyebrows with this and also put this over my entire eyelid region just to cancel out any discoloration, any veins, and really just give a base to the eyeshadows that we are going to go in with next. You guys have seen me do this many times before, but this just helps the colors pop on top and really stick to a base. And for today's look, we are going to be using my tried and true, the Jaclyn Hill palette. And to begin, as always, I'm going to take the shades Silk Cream and Made for Each Other on my Morphe M441 brush. And we are just going to fluff this all in the crease just to use as our initial transition colors, because the colors that we're going to go in with today are going to be built up very gradually and slowly. So these layering of the colors are really, really important in my opinion. So we are going to start with these lighter shades and fluff it all up. Next, to deepen up the crease, we are going to go in with the shades Pooter and Pukey on the same brush, and we're just going to further deepen out the crease, bringing this a tiny bit lower than those first two colors and just building up the shape of my crease loosely. You don't need to use all of these colors if you don't want to, but why not mix all these colors? I have this big, beautiful palette in front of me, so I like mixing as many colors together as possible. Now I'm switching over to my Morphe M433 brush, which is a little bit of a flatter blending brush. And now I'm going to take the shade Buns and Pukey just to bring it one shade darker yet again. And now I'm really keeping this one controlled. We're not trying to bring this all over the place. We're just using this to darken up the crease right where we're gonna put the concealer later when we cut it, because I want it to be really dark right where the concealer is gonna meet it later on. And then I'm also going to put this on the outer third corner to start darkening up that edge of my eye as well. I'm going to go back with that initial fluffy transition brush, the Morphe M441, and I'm just going to fluff over everything and make sure it's blended together with no additional product on that brush whatsoever. Now I'm switching over to my Morphe M411 brush, which is a really dense packed blending brush, and I'm going to take the shade Buns, and now I'm just going to pack this color a lot on that outer corner because I want this to start to get nice and dark out there. This brush is great for packing on colors while still being fluffy enough to blend them out, but also really good for packing if you use patting motions. And then I'm taking whatever is left over on that brush and I'm just kind of running it through the crease loosely, just so like what I mentioned before, it's really dark right where that concealer is going to meet it later on. Before I go in with the concealer, like I mentioned, I'm taking this beautiful yellow shade, which is kind of going to play a big role in this makeup look later on, and it's called Creamsicle, but I'm just going to fluff this over everything because it just brings an insane amount of warmth and brightness to the eyes. So I'm gonna fluff that all over. And now we are going to cut the crease with my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer like I talked about before. This is my Morphe M421 brush, and I really, really do love this brush for both carving out my brows and also cutting the lid. And I honestly was struggling quite a bit. I don't know why my eyes were not cooperating with me today. So if that ever happens to you, just be patient, take it a segment at a time, and just slowly build it up. Make sure that you're looking at your eye from different angles to make sure it's even and it looks good. And I will also say that it's really important to not go in with too much concealer at a time. You don't want it to be too wet, otherwise it's going to be a slippery mess. And then I'm just gonna fast forward through this eye just so you can see how much easier this eye was cooperating with me. This eye literally took me a fraction of the time that the first eye did. So just hang in there and keep trying it out, and eventually you will get there. So now we are going to go in with this NYX single eyeshadow, and this is in the shade STFU. And I wish that this was as pigmented and bright and as yellow as it is in person, but unfortunately it is not. So I am going to mix it with that shade Creamsicle in the Jaclyn Hill palette just to try to make it even more pigmented. But let me tell you, this NYX shade really sucks. So I had to be very patient. I just had to build it up, keep packing on these two colors for a very long time until you're satisfied with the color. But when I was getting ready for my formal, I was getting so frustrated with it. I was livid. But working with it the second time, now that I knew what to do a little bit better, you just have to be very patient. But I would highly recommend to try to find a different yellow shade, because this NYX single shade did not do me justice. Now to add even more color on the top lid, I'm gonna mix the shades Hunts and Roxanne, which are like beautiful, fiery red-orange colors. And I'm going to sandwich this in between that yellow shade and that brown shade on the outer corner. So I kind of want it to go from gradually to like yellow to red-orange to brown. But like I said, I really want this to be like a gradual transition. So I'm gonna go back in with Creamsicle and stamp this over that red-orange shade so it's nice and seamless, and kind of go back and forth between those two colors until I'm satisfied with the blendability of it all. And now I'm going back in with one of those first two blending brushes. I'm just going to sweep over everything just so we continue on this very seamless transition like I've been talking about. Now I'm gonna go back in with the shade Buns, and I'm taking it on this eyebrow or eyeliner brush. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm kind of lightly putting it right where that concealer line is, just to really intensify and kind of cut that crease one step further. This just to me makes that whole shape stand out a little bit more. And I actually didn't do this the night of my formal, and I really wish that I would have. I just think this really helped the look be a little bit more solidified and a little bit more sharp looking. Now we are going to move on to the lower lash line, and I'm taking that NYX single shade and also Creamsicle, and I'm going to pack this all on my inner corner, both on the lower lash line and the upper lash line, just because I think this really helps the yellow to stand out overall, and you really notice it more on the top if it's also on the bottom. And now I'm taking Hunts and Roxanne again on this little Morphe brush, and I'm just going to really blow this out on my lower lash line. I want it to be obvious that it's very warm and orange down there. So I'm kind of being messy with it, slapping it on the lower lash line. Now we are going to bring the lower lash line one shade deeper and more red with the shade Jax. And I'm just taking that on a little pencil brush and just focusing it on the outer third corner of my eyes. And now we can finally move on to the face. I'm first going to go in with my Benefit Hula bronzer just to bring some warmth and sculptness to my face, but then I am going to go in with my Morphe Bronzer in the shade Celebutante in a second, just to really warm up my cheeks. And this brings such a beautiful glow and sheen to the face, so I'm just going to layer both of these bronzers up in order to look nice and tan and bronzy. And then I'm also just gonna loosely place this on the sides of my nose just to bring some color all over my face. And then for today's blush, I am gonna go in with this beautiful Morphe blush trio, and this is in the shade Pop of Coral. And I'm just gonna go in with those first two shades that I pointed to. I have been obsessed with this blush trio recently. The colors are so beautiful and so pigmented, and I just know that this is gonna be my jam in the summer. And it was only 12 bucks for 3 blushes, so I love it. And then for highlight, of course, I'm going in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills and my Amrezy highlight, and it's just my favorite. I can't stop using it at all. It is the most beautiful highlight ever. I love it so much, and I think it really does work on quite the range of skin tones, which is excellent. So I'm putting this in all the places I normally would highlight. And then I'm also gonna go over it a tiny bit with my Dose of Colors Desi X Katy highlighter, which is discontinued. I don't know why, I just felt like I wanted more highlight, so I just popped it on there. And then just make sure that everything is pushed in and blended. I'm going over it with my Beauty Blender one more time. And then really quickly off of camera, we got brows and some mascara. And then I am going to put on this Anastasia brow pencil just to carve out my brows one step further. But the other reason why I love doing this, especially with a really bold eyeshadow look, is if you brought your transition shades a little too high, this just instantly cleans it up and makes it look way more sharp. And then I'm also going to toss this in my lower lash line to really brighten it up and bring some pizzazz to the eye. And then I'm taking that same Anastasia highlight and just tossing that in my inner corners to bring a little bit of brightness on top of that yellow. And then lastly, for the lips, we're gonna wrap it up with my NYX Suede Lip Liner in the shade London. I have really realized that these are absolutely my favorite lip liners, and they're from the drugstore, so that is great. If you're in the market for a good, cheap lip liner, definitely try out these NYX Suede Matte Lip Pencils. And then I got this Nude Sticks lipstick in my Allure Beauty box. I can't remember what shade this is, but I will link it down below. But I really like these. They're just like cute and natural and really easy. So I've been loving those. And then just to lighten it up a smidge, because I did wear this on the night of my formal, I'm going in with my Marc Jacobs lip cream in the shade Fawn Over Me and just topping it off with a little gloss. I know that lip combo is a lot to handle, but I really, really like a glossy lip with this dewy skin and this eye look. And this is the finished look right here, you guys. Slay Queen. Alright you guys, so this is the finished look right here. This is it complete, and honestly I'm a little upset because I like the way that it looks now better than what it did for my actual formal, probably because I was able to practice it once the night of my formal, and now I'm doing it again. But I think it looks so good, and I love the way it turned out. Even though this NYX shade is a little hard to work with, I really wish that it performed a lot better, but mixing that with the one in the Jaclyn Hill palette works out pretty well. It's just this one does not pack as big of a punch as I want it to, and it kind of just, it's not that pigmented. So I really wouldn't recommend this eyeshadow for this look, but this is just what I found when I was in a pinch because I really wanted to do a type of look like this. So you can either just use the shade that's in the Jaclyn Hill palette or find another yellow shade. They have yellow shades everywhere. Also, NYX has this like palette that's called like their Vivid Brights, I think. I don't really recall. But I feel like those colors work a lot better than these individual single ones. So just kind of find whatever yellow shade you can work with. This is just what I had to do in the meantime. It worked fine, but I would prefer a little bit of a better shade. But I really just love the way that these colors work together. I love how like the yellow goes into the orange, into the brown. You kind of have like the red on the lower lash line. It just kind of looks like a little sunset action. I just feel like this makeup look is a little unique and pushes me out of my comfort zone. So I hope you guys like this video, and I hope that this step-by-step of how to achieve this type of makeup look was really helpful for you guys. If it was, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will catch you guys on my next video. Bye, you guys. You know what it